Hi everyone, David Blakey. This video's lesson is string methods and string slices. We'll be talking about string methods like str.upper, and we'll also be looking at strings slices, which look like this. So let's talk about that. First thing to understand about strings is that they're immutable, which of course means that they can't be changed. The only reason this is important to us when talking about string methods is that the string methods that are available to us often produce new strings, but they don't change the strings in place. When we look at lists, which are mutable, we'll see that there are a number of list methods that change the object in question. Let's see what we're talking about here. First, let's go into an interactive session and create a string. Now here's a string. It's a string object, my string. As we saw before in learning about attributes, we're able to place a string into dir and get back a listing of all the attributes that are available to any string object. We can do this really with any string. You can see we put the string into dir, saying basically give me a directory of the attributes that are associated with this string. And we can also say dir str. You may remember str as the name of strings. That's the name of the string type. Dir str will simply give us the very same listing as when we just put a string into dir, a set of attributes that are available to us when we work with strings. Some of them you're familiar with from either your homework or from the handout. Upper, for example, which will uppercase a string. Title, which will capitalize all the words within a string, and so on. There's a lot of string methods here. We're not going to necessarily work with all of them in our lives as Python programmers, but there are some very useful ones, and who knows, at some point in the future you may want to do something with a string and you'll check the directory for strings, look at all the attribute names and see, oh wow, there's a method that does exactly what I want here. So when we're looking at string methods, we want to find out about an individual string method. We can use the help function. So we can say str.upper, for example, and we'll see after this, you'll see it'll clear the screen and it'll give us a very, very terse documentation on upper. This is something that you need to learn how to read. Return a copy of the string s converted to uppercase. Here's s, that would be the string. String.upper, this indicates how the method is to be used. String.upper returns a string is what this arrow says. Return a copy of the string converted to uppercase. Let's try it out. We're going to say myString, which was hello, and we'll just say myString.upper. And we get back hello. Now how is it used in practice? Because we don't have in the help documentation, we don't really have it in use. I'm going to have to show you, and you'll see it in the handout as well. We can say myString equals hello, and then my upper string equals myString.upper. Now this is again the example as we saw with arguments and return values, if you saw that video. When we call a method, you can see that it returns a new object. And what is the type of this object? Well, why don't we print upper string and see what its value is anyway. And then why don't we just print the type of my upper string? See what that gets us. So running it, we see hello and type str. So you can see that my upper string is a string. Going back to the documentation, we do a help, oops, Python. We do a help of str.upper. What does it say? Return a copy of the string s converted to uppercase. So again, what is str.upper returning? It's a copy of a string converted to uppercase, as the documentation says. You can see from the program run that my upper string has hello, but it's uppercased. That's its value. And you can also see that the type is string. So upper returns a new string. We can also, as I think we've done before, print myString. As you can see now, myString has not changed. So we see hello, type stir, and then the lowercase hello. That's the original hello. That is that my string itself has not changed. As I said before, strings are immutable. And when we want to work with strings, we're never going to be changing the string since they're immutable. They can't be changed. But if we did want to convert a string, or let's say do something to a string, like title case it or uppercase it or lowercase it, we could easily do that by simply producing a new string and then using that new string if that's what we want to do. So that's what's going on with some of these methods. Other methods that we have with strings don't produce new strings, but instead might tell us something about a string. For example, isDigit. isDigit, isLower, isSpace. These methods, as you might be able to tell just from the name, will tell us true or false whether a string is all digits, or is all lowercase, or is all uppercase. These is methods, this is what they do. Probably the more common ones that we use is isAlNum, which will tell us if it's all alphanumeric characters, isAlpha, which tells us if it's all alpha characters, and probably the even more popular isDigit, which tells us if a string is all digits or not. Let's try these. Meister equals hello. Meister dot isDigit. What do you think we're going to get for that? False. It looks like Meister dot isDigit, or rather the isDigit method, returns true or false depending on whether the string is digits or not. Let's try Meister.isAlpha. Yes, true. How do we use these in a program? Let's take a look. It's sometimes hard from the interactive prompt to see exactly how it's being used, but we might do this. We might say, let's say return val equals mystring dot isAlNum. All right, here's a question. If this is like alpha or numeric, or sorry, what was it? Alpha or isDigit, isAl, alpha or isDigit. In fact, why don't we do this? I'm going to say isAlpha equals mystring dot isAlpha. I'm going to say isAlNum equals mystring isAlNum. isDigit equals mystring isDigit. Let's see what we get here. We're going to have to remember, where did I put this one second? Alpha, digit, and alnum. Print isAlpha. Print isDigit. Print isAlNum. And actually, I think I'm going to need to add print statements here. isAlpha. Now I'm adding commas so that we can have the answers come on the same line as the output. But as you can see, I'm calling each of these methods, capturing the return value in a variable. So this is a label that's now going to be associated with the return value of isAlpha, isDigit, and isAlNum. And now I'm reporting on each one. Let's see what we get. Okay, we're talking about the string hello. isAlpha? True, it's all alpha characters. isDigit? False, it's not all digit characters. isAlNum? True. Interesting. Alnum simply means, is it all alphanumeric characters? So if it's all alpha characters, then yes, it's all alphanumeric characters. If we added a numeric character to it, hello 55, let's see what we get. isAlpha is false. It's not all alpha characters. isDigit is false. It's not all digit characters. isAlNum? Yes, it's all alphanumeric characters. So you can see how these methods work. Normally we wouldn't use them this way, though. We're assigning the return value of isAlpha, isDigit, isAlNum to a variable name, which is perfectly legal. But what sorts of values are these? These are the Boolean values true or false. True or false. Generally, we don't store true or false in a variable this way. We might under certain circumstances, but more often we'll be putting it into an if expression. If isAlpha, print isAlpha. I think you can see what I'm about to do. If isDigit, print isDigit. If isalnum, print isalnum. Good. Why don't we begin by printing myString? In fact, why don't we just take the value from user input? Input equals raw input. Perfect. Now we can run this program over and over again and test the different values and see what they are. So test.py, hello. Oops, got a mistake. MyString. Aha, okay. We'll call it MyString. Hello. Hello is alpha and is alnum, but it's obviously not isDigit. 55. It is digit and it is alnum. Hello with an exclamation point. It's not anything. It's neither all alpha characters, all digit characters, or all alphanumeric characters. Okay, that's pretty clear, I'm sure. If we go back to the Python interactive prompt and do a dir stir, we've got a third type, which will tell us things like starts with, what character, or I'm sorry, starts with is another true or false. So starts with, ends with, these are also really common methods for strings. If we said that MyString is hello, and we said MyString ends with an O, we'll get back true. If we say MyString starts with an X, we'll get back false, right? Because it does not begin with an X. We might want to check to see, for example, if there are spaces at the end of our string, if there are spaces at the beginning of our string, if maybe it ends with a certain number. It's really up to us what we'd like to do. There are other string methods. I'm not going to go over all of them, but I wanted to give you a sense of what string methods can do. Others we'll look at more carefully when we're looking at lists, are methods like split. We also occasionally might want to do things like replace one string with another. I'm not going to go over these right at the moment. I think I've gone over the ones that are most important to us right at this stage in our exploration of Python.